I don't believe that balance exists. I believe it's wholeness.
I'm whole to begin with, but I have work to do.
Wholeness to me is being able to be your own bridge to your heart, through your heart.
Today's episode is the first time we got together for what we're calling the Wholeness Network Show. So every couple of weeks, we're bringing on one of our experts to really interact with you, our audience. So there's just a little bit of teaching, but it's really supposed to be a time where you can get on and to get your questions answered or to make comments or to get help. It's really interactive. We hope for you to get a chance to get some free coaching from our wonderful, amazing teachers and experts from around the world. We wanted to share what that was like. So today is our episode with Angelina RAY. She did what we called a dream workshop, where she was able to work with people one-on-one and talk about their dreams and what kind of symbols come up in dreams and what they're for. And it was a great time. And so I really hope that you look for our next episode. And if you subscribe to the Wholeness Network by going to thewholenessnetwork.com, scrolling to the bottom and just getting our little free gift we give you, you get on our mailing list and we'll let you know when and what the next episodes are like. So without further ado, Angelina RAY and her dream workshop. I am so excited to have Angelina here. She is a medium and a therapist, and she has a special way of interpreting dreams. So, I'm one that Google is like half of a therapist for me. I have a dream and I will get on and I will Google it, and that's helpful. But Angelina uses all her gifts and some of her training and things like that for you to really find meaning in your dreams. That's a little different than understanding for your own personal meaning, your own personal messages. And so I think this is going to be a great event. And what we'll do is people that want to have their turn to work with Angelina will do that and let you have some time with her. I think it's also really helpful to watch other people process what they're going through and really get to understand more about yourself through participating and watching others. So what we'll do is we'll have you raise your hand if you want to be, and you might need to turn your cameras on to raise your hand, and then we can go in the order that people want to work with her. Now, one thing is that I know when I work with my own clients, it is really an interesting thing because I'm working with my own thoughts and experiences and vocabulary. And sometimes I'll move into a conversation with that in mind. So if Angelina is talking about something and it doesn't resonate or it doesn't quite fit, she really wants you to know to don't be afraid to say no, or don't be afraid to say that doesn't make sense to me, or I'm not sure about that. We a lot of times that's the biggest barrier for me. I don't know about you, Angelina, but the biggest barrier for me is because I maybe get an image or go on this, I quickly try to interpret it for myself, and I'm building that muscle to just ask the questions. But so when I get that, no, this is what it means to me, that's really useful for me. That really brings a lot of clarity to me and helps me learn. So don't be afraid to say no, or to ask for, bring up a different vocabulary word. Sometimes those are different. And especially because we've got two different Englishes going on. So that's also something to look at. And I'm going to actually turn some time over to Angelina to let her kind of describe her things. So if anytime during, you can raise your hand, but go ahead, Angelina. Thank you so much for being here. And it's just a delight to know you and to have you here today.
So yeah, it's been amazing how this has transpired. So I'm so excited. I hope to pack the 90 minutes with some valuable content for you, although half the content will be the interactions of you guys being able to participate with expressing your thoughts and feelings as a result to the questions I'm led to ask you. So I do work some people call it psychically, others may call it clairvoyantly. And that's another little topic that maybe on either in this arena or in another workshop, I can explain the difference between psych and clairvoyance, because sometimes they cross over and they're quite similar. So we'll wait till somebody's got their hands up, but I just want to say maybe that this is a chance for you to really get some direction and purpose to what's happening for you currently. And it will also help you to heal and to process what has been dormant. So I'm very aware that because this is a live group, don't worry, because there's not going to be any exposing secrets that come out and bounce out in front of everybody. Spirit have a really good way. And I say spirit, I'm going to use spirit. I might use spirit often because it's just the way I use the fact that I get an analysis outside of my cognitive mind. So I don't even know what will come in, and it can be quite abstract. So that's why I need to ask you a lot of questions throughout the interpretation as well. So yes, I am a psychic medium. I'm a conventional therapist. I train in counselling, and I've got lots of personal experience to do with my relationship with faith, belief. And if we had time, I could talk about that because it's quite interesting how I managed to find, because the thing is about dreams is it uncovers, it will never lie to you, but it will show you the illusions in your mind. And people often ask me, how did I become a psychic medium and a therapist as well? And I'd say a large part of it was to do with my history from childhood, growing up from a religious background that was both really helpful and caused a lot of trauma and existential angst as well. So we know in dreams that there'll be a lot of conflict within your processing. The dreams will show you what you're battling, basically. So I hope to be able to clear the pathways for you so that you can find a way forward in your purpose and what it is that the universe is looking for you to have, and what your personality is looking to do.
So good. Quickly, if anybody wants to, so if you to raise your hand, I'm sorry, if you go down to the bottom of your screen, there's a reactions. And if you click, I think on the little arrow, there's a place that says raise your hand. So that's probably confusing for people. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Marion if you want to. Are you good to go, Angelina? Are you ready to connect with?
Yeah, just to say that everybody, there'll be a message and a message. So do stay in if you're not getting a read, is because whatever that person's getting, you may find that there's answers to some of your questions that you are having in your present life inadvertently. So that's the beauty of co-creating. Here.
Right. There's no accidents that we're here as this group together today. So great. Good job. All right. So Marion, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hi. I'm actually in Australia, in Brisbane.
Lovely to meet you from Australia.
Yeah, lovely to. Anyway, this came at a lovely time. So my mother just passed away. And while I was pondering on that, so I come from a religious background too. And I had a dream on Friday night, and it was very vivid. I don't really dream very often, but when I do, it's usually quite vivid, and then I find meaning for it. So I had this dream. There was all black and white dogs, and they're all going in one direction, and they were wagging their tail, and they seemed to be smiling, and so they all seemed to be going in this one direction, and there were lots of them. But in the middle of those dogs, there was like this golden red-haired silky terrier, and it was going the opposite direction, and it was wagging its tail and dancing and quite happy. And when I was praying about that, I felt like I was that little silky terrier doing things opposite, because I seemed to do things differently to my family. Anyway, so that was my dream, and so I've been pondering on it and Googled dogs and and then
I had to smile because I just dogs came in as soon as you connect. I was hearing dogs, and I was like, okay, sorry, you were going to mention you were hadn't finished.
Yes. So, well, that's kind of how it was. It was just all the dogs going one way, and then there was this little one in the middle going that way, and just happy doing, I thought, her own thing. That's, I kind of called it a her, doing her own thing, going the other way, being happy. And it was interesting what was happening because there's lots of stuff going on in my family. They're all trying to heal from trauma. Some of them don't want to talk to me. I have 7 children. So some of them, I can't see grandchildren. So I have a couple who talk. And anyway, so this, I don't go into all that now, but that's kind of what's happening. And so I have family who don't approve. Decisions I made a long time ago, but I was just naive and trying to do the right thing. And anyway, now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was putting all that together, and my mum had passed away in that dream.
I can feel the exhaustion from you. I just wanted to highlight that's been heard, that exhaustion. I'm getting 7 months, so I don't know what happened 7 months ago, but I'm hearing 7 months. Does 7 months ring a bell in any way to you?
It's probably, maybe it's my mum's health went downhill, maybe, and then I started going there every Saturday to be with her. I didn't know how long she'd have to live.
Yeah.
So I'd go every Saturday and rub her feet or take her to the shops, take her for a walk, or just try to help her. And we had her funeral yesterday. So, and I was more emotional than I thought I would be.
Absolutely. It's understandable there. And I just heard the words, I'll go my way and you go yours. So I don't know what that means to you, but I needed to say that. I'll go my way and you go yours. And I felt like that little dog that was going, she was just happy. She was happy. And I felt that was the voice of mum. I felt that the voice of mum, I'm happy that, I'll go my way.
Yes.
Aubrey, I don't know what that means. Aubrey, or something beginning with an A. Do you know of anyone with an Aubrey or anything like that?
I don't know.
Could be that you were like.
I have an Andrew. Oh, like a what?
It could be that you were like an Audrey Hepburn, because I want to highlight the beauty, and this is what I feel like mum's essence is coming in here. I work with dream analysis very individually. If it's a medium link, it will come as a medium link. If it's a clairvoyant link, it's all different levels that I work in. But I feel like the red hair is you. I don't know whether you used to dye your hair red when you were young.
I just got a red tinge, that's all.
Oh,
but my mum used to babysit my auntie's red silky terrier. That's yes.
That's beautiful. She's reminding you of your youth, I want to say, because you've been reminiscing, particularly when you were young. And okay, let me have a look, because it's the black and white, and it's a black and white thinking. I'm being told it's your black and white thinking. But I want to say not everything is black and white. So I'm also seeing a postage stamp. So I don't know what the postage stamp might mean to you. Is there something that you need to send off, or something that you need to receive? If I say, if I gave you a postage stamp as a message, what do you think that might be saying to you?
I need to send a letter.
Is there a letter that's on your mind?
Yes.
And I want to say, the Spirit are saying to me, there's an incubation period. I don't know what that means, but regarding the letter, that there'll be some time and some space for you to get the information you need, but you must send it.
Yes.
You see. Is there anything else in that dream that particularly stands out that's troubling you, I'm asked to say? Because that's what's just come in. It's just have a look and see if there's anything in that dream that troubled you. Did it? Because dreams can often give you a sense of curiosity and wonderment, confusion as well, because they're very abstract. But was there anything that troubled you?
I don't remember really, but I suppose in a fact that all the dogs were going in a one way. There seemed to be no, they were all just going the one way. They were happy to go the one way. There was no individuality.
No individuality. I want to say these are your family members.
Mm.
I want to say your brothers and sisters, but
Yes.
I'm hearing you easily get confused. So these are your family members. And also, gosh, I need to slow this down. When you are with them, you'd lose yourself. I'm being told. I don't know who I am. And now I've got really confused. I'm hearing it's important for you to hold your own. So that's what it is. I don't know whether there were some issues at the funeral, but it felt difficult involving the siblings as well.
Yes, yeah, it was, with my kids, it was. Yes, it was.
I want to say the puppies also represent youth, playfulness, I want to say, mixed with the sense of protection and security. And I'm hearing she's with her grandfather. I'm hearing grandfather, because it's like grandfather is the archetype in your life to have that, because I don't thought father was much around.
No, he wasn't.
And so I'm hearing it's grandfather who she's with right now.
And
there was something about her waiting for you by the pearly gates. I don't know whether this was a conversation that once you had, or whether she's actually verbalized it, but she's there. She says, I will be there waiting for you. And there's water under the bridge. So just let that, it's all gone. There's nothing to, but I'm hoping I'm covering aspects of your dream, because I notice sometimes just mediumship kicks in, and it's like, dreams are there also to spark off the further messages that go on. How has that felt for you with what I've given you so far?
Yeah, no, it's been good, actually. I think I saw it a little bit different, but I can see now the dogs being my family. They're all a certain way, and they're not flexible in changing that way. Whereas I always tend to be flexible, and I see people for who they are and for where they've been, and whereas they just seem to be stuck in this way, and they're not looking that people can change and be different and grow, and that they too have a past, that's brought them to that place.
They do. And I want to say you're questioning a lot of things right now. I am led to draw a card. Do you feel okay with that? Because everyone's different. You mentioned, does that align with you okay if I do draw a card?
Yes, I'm fine, because messages come out in different ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm just being sometimes because you need to see sometimes you need to see things right in front of you to believe that they are true.
I'm a very visual person.
And this is why it's coming in for me to do this card. But what I want to say is this is the patience and the plan, which is the incubation period with you sending something off. Now this card can seem really scary, and this is what I want to talk to you guys about fear, because there's a saying that I came across about, I think I even wrote this down because it just fascinated me, and it dropped in this morning. It's when the devil ignores you, maybe you're doing something wrong. Conversely, when the devil comes out at you, maybe you're doing something right. Because from Eastern philosophies, I heard the same new level, new devil. And so that's a message strongly for me. I feel like I need to say this to you, is it's something around facing changes in your life and making them happen. I don't know if you've been thinking about going abroad.
Yeah, I'm thinking of going to Germany with my auntie, cousin. Yes.
So when I show you this card, it looks really scary, but this is your confusion. It says deception and and envy, but it looks very, this is you. I can't remember where you were positioning in the dogs, because there was mum saying, I just needed to go. There were your brothers and your sisters, and there was something else, which I can't recall. But this is saying something, don't hoodwink yourself into compromising your needs and your wants. Should they turn into resentment in the end for suppressing your desires and your feelings? I hope that's helped.
I do put myself, I forget sometimes to look after, like to do things for myself. Yes.
You know, I talk about the idea of how do we call it? Self-care. And to me, self-care is the energetic investment to our future. And I think the theme is moving forward. And so I hope that gives you permission to instill your own sacred time to connect with the actions aligned to your thoughts and feelings that create your desires.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's been very helpful. Thank you so much. I've been awake since 12. I've been awake since I normally sleep through, but tonight I couldn't sleep. So I'm very grateful.
You needed it. And it's such a pleasure that you could participate, because I know it's not easy coming up.
No, it's 2 o'clock in the morning here in Australia. So good. Thank you so much.
It's been amazing to work with you. You my pleasure.
You.
That was amazing. That was awesome. I really appreciate you sharing, Marion. And if anybody else wants to raise their hand, we can work one-on-one with you. In the meanwhile, I have my own dream for you to analyze, Angelina, and I'm going to read it. It was such a dream. I had this dream in January of this year, and it was so impactful. I wrote it down, so I'm going to read what I wrote. But what it was I was in an outdoor wilderness, and it was kind of a training center. It was like almost like a zoo where you would look out, and it was for training purposes. That's what it was. And it seemed that someone was showing me around, like, here's where we do this and here's where we do that. And I had a young child with me, a young girl with me. And in showing me how the training worked, something kind of went wrong. The little girl fell down into this training period, or training area is what it reminded me of. And there was a large tiger, and that usually would help with the training. And I knew that she'd fallen into this tiger this tiger habitat. And it felt like I was terrified. And in slow motion, I began to turn to the man that was with me, to say, she's fallen into the pit. But I look over, and the child landed on her hands and knees. She kind of had fallen and landed on her hands and knees, but she lifted her head and she looked straight at the tiger, and the tiger just ran off. Like, she just was so powerful. And so I was so relieved. I jumped down in to kind of get her. Yeah. And then all of a sudden there was this large snake coming to get her. Right. And so we're trying to gently pry this big snake off of her, without anybody getting hurt. And at this point, I'm trying to tell the little girl, I'm trying to say, look, this is a snake and it could hurt you, and all of a sudden the snake bites me. It bites me right in the leg. I could feel it in my dream, I remember. And let's see. So then that bite woke me up. It like startled me enough to where I woke up out of the dream, and my heart was beating. And as I was kind of catching up with myself being awake, and looking over what I saw and remembering what I had experienced, I was so in shock, because what I realized was that, it was just because my whole point was this little girl was not afraid. She was not afraid, and she did not get hurt. I did, because I was trying to show her fear. I was trying to explain to her what fear was, and it was just a really powerful lesson to me. But that was my dream. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about that dream.
Oh gosh, so much. You see, with one dream, you could just pull out months worth of learning, understanding, and answers. What came to me was, isn't it funny? Oh no, it's not a snake. I always wonder whether there's a snake on this. It felt like I wanted to go to Deception and Envy card, but there is a tarot card that has a snake on it. And I was thinking, oh my God, that's your I want to say there's some temptations that I feel are leading you astray, just slightly little ones, but that inner child, I don't know how much you felt, because I know you're extremely intuitive yourself, but did you, I suppose you kind of know, it screams at me, that child in the pit, is you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is you. And you were saying that actually the child was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was the adult me that was trying to show her fear and warn her that was actually her. And so I want to say also this thing of this, what comes into me is, what are you battling? I'm hearing, what are you battling? And I'm also being told to have courage and persistence. So I wondered, this is the tiger coming in as well. But I want to highlight the persistency for some reason, and that feels important to say.
Taking notes. Yeah.
No, it's good that you take notes, because sometimes you want to catch these little bits of info, like they're raindrops falling into your hands, and you want to sort of grab them to make them last. And so hang on, let me just breathe into this so I can get a little bit more for you. Because there seems to be so much that's coming through, and it's about slowing it down to get the right bits of content to make it sense on an overall picture for you, because there's something I'm hearing about public speaking, I have to say. So yeah, psych does come in as well. There's something about public speaking. And I'm also hearing that you need to make room. So I don't know about getting rid of some of the old habits and old beliefs, and it's something that you're currently doing, but there's certain things that you can't get out of your head. Have you got a sister? I'm being drawn to your sister. I don't know how that represents an embodiment of the dream. So you were going to, can you just go, sometimes I just need a reminder of it. You were going into an arena where you were studying and learning something new, and then you fell into the pit.
Yep. Yeah. I was kind of being shown around, here's how we teach you these things. It was like it was a learning facility, but I don't know if it was like training the tigers, that wasn't part of it, but it was like, we have this section of wilderness where we teach you how to, I don't even remember that part, but yeah, it was a learning facility.
Yeah. So there's something about survival here. And when you were young, there's something subconscious about rivalry that still imprints on you sometimes, but it's survival of the fittest that you've learned. And that's really hard, because I know you on a level where you've got such a caring, that you share a lot of self, and you're a giver. But that almost feels like that's the conflict as well, in the way that you offer your gift, because there's one that really wants to, and another bit that feels resentful for that as well. But I'm hearing the words, don't bite the hand that feeds you. And I feel like this is mum. And his mum's here, she's present with you.
She's passed. Yeah.
Okay. So there's unresolved issues, and I don't know how much you've known about that, but it's like it comes as a message to say with mum that sometimes there was a judgment that she would place on you, and it should be quite strict. Does that make sense to you?
You know what? I know what you're talking about. So when I had this dream, my dad had passed away, and we were in the middle of an awful, like, terrible thing with who would be my stepmom. And that's who I think this is. And she's here, she's still living, obviously. So I think that's the avenue you're on.
No, that's why it's so good just to get that input, because it really places definition into where it's meant to be. So that's excellent. And so that came in, as well as the feelings of your sister. But I'm also getting I want to say 2 or 3 months. There's something about 2 or 3 months time that I want you to pay attention to. And I want to say things really are going to start to escalate and get big. So you're trying to be prepared, and the Spirit just said to me, get prepared.
I appreciate that. And just to circle back, like, I think what you're saying, what makes sense, because so I am the youngest of 7 children. I'm the youngest. Wow. And I was the extra on the end surprise, right? I was the surprise. And it's been really difficult for me, talking about the sister. I have 3 sisters and 3 brothers. And it's been really interesting to interact with them, with my gifts and with what I'm trying to build and grow, and still feel like the little sister. You know what I mean? It's like those 2 worlds kind of, that when you talk about the rivalry, I get that. Like, nobody's there, don't put me down, but it just kind of plays with my own beliefs, that plays with the fact that I'm supposed to be the little sister. And here I am, like, trying to teach them things about how the systems work and things like that.
You didn't get enough time to play as well.
Yep, for sure.
So creativity is so important for you, and there's a little bit of how am I going to blow up big whilst keeping that
100%. You're just right.
So we know that we're just looking at the internal conflicts of what is happening whilst we move forward. But you're doing it because the tiger's saying so.
Yeah, it was really powerful, because she didn't have this fear. She just looked in the eye of that tiger and just said, leave me and don't mess with me, and then she was letting that snake play all over her, and she was just like, she was fine. I was wanting to warn her, but she was more fine. She was better than me. I'm the one that got bitten, this older person. So it was really a fascinating dream. I really appreciate you exploring that with me. If you have anything else, I'm willing to do that, or I'm willing to listen. Usually I'm an open book. I also would like you to tell a little bit about, your process, maybe. So
Yeah, absolutely. I can interweave my process with what you've just said, because I just wanted to highlight fear. Fear, is that thing that allows us, I don't know your take on it from your life coaching perspective, but it's showing us that we're stepping into the innovation of the unknown, and that's where creativity's at. So I grew up with a lot of existential angst, being born into a religious cult, and everything's about being silenced for me, and so this is amazing because I get to sort of talk about it a little bit in the private setting, you see. But what I think my main thing is growing up, and I just need to make sure, sorry, because I have a few notes that I wanted just to make sure that and it's around what you're going to get with a dream analysis. But with the religious movement, there'll be conflicts in rituals, routines, principles instilled, and I had to make sense of illusions and what was my truth. And I remember there was this moment in time where I realized that there are certain things that are told to us that are true, and some things that are lies, and we can always talk about our truth, and we can but it doesn't mean that we have to say it all. And I want to say this is in context to having your dreams interpreted on this live. I would say, if you're scared of coming up and putting your hand up to explore your dreams, I would say take the plunge, because you won't be exposed to everything No one's going to see deep, dark secrets that aren't meant to be. There will be a protection around you where I will have the right words to say, or spirit will close my eyes to certain things. So yes, I grew up with a lot of trauma from having to keep things a secret. And I think the biggest thing I've learned in this process is to stand up and tell your truth, but also protect yourself by knowing that you don't have to give all of yourself away. And I think that what I've learned is there's really good value in looking back at things. So having, like, I was in this religious movement till I was like 12, and it took a lot of time to restore my understanding of what life was. And so back in hindsight, I'm constantly reflecting on those 12 years and how it created my values and my own principles. And start, even now, little things are making sense, is to say that's why I went through this and that's why I went through that. So I think that it's really important to not be afraid of staying with things that have happened to you that still hold difficult memories, because I've got this thing about shadow work that we don't necessarily always get rid of our dark side completely. We're here to make friends with our dark side and use our dark side to find our skill set. And I found so many dark sides living in that cult, with so many things imposed onto me and not knowing who I was in all of this.
Oh, great. Jessica, go for it.
So my question is, so I don't usually remember my dreams until something happens during the daytime. Like, let's say that I run into a friend that I haven't seen in 15 years. And when I see them, I remember that they were in my dream last night.
Wow. Yeah. That can happen.
So that happens a lot to me, but I don't, and I keep like a dream journal. So sometimes I remember dreams, but not very often, until something happens in the day. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I think, but first of all, I believe we all dream. And like you just said, sometimes we just can't recall them yet. And I liken it to Reiki, actually, because I learned with the Reiki principles is that we say this thing about healing, that it's for the grace and ease, for the highest of good. And I spoke a bit about illusions, because people often say with a mediumship is like, oh, do our loved ones see us when we're doing something bad? And I'm like, that's a whole nother topic, and it's the same with repressed insight. Is sometimes I believe we're not meant to actually connect with it yet. Maybe your psyche is protecting you in some way. Maybe you've overwhelmed and overloaded with enough. You've got enough on your plate. And so you may shut down certain processing, but just the most poignant parts to what you're meant to unravel comes up in your consciousness. So for instance, this friend coming in, and then you said, oh, she was in my dream. What is the encounter with your friend trying to tell you, and how did it it was obviously important enough for it to go into your dream. So that's me feeling like your soul is registering, there's some work that I need to do connected to what this person is showing me.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Is there anything that's come up at the back end of what I've said? Have you had any drop-ins, any thoughts or feelings at the back end of what I've just said?
Well, when you described that, I have a lot going on. So it's like my subconscious is protecting me. That feels true.
Yeah. And sorry.
No, I think that's why I'm not remembering first thing, is because I have so much going on and I'm feeling extremely overwhelmed and stressed. So my subconscious is saying, it happened. Your subconscious knows you don't need to remember it. So
100%. And also, like, what I was getting when you said it was, okay, more sleep I'm hearing, but the pockets of time that you have just resting. I don't know if you do that. Do you have pause moments in your day?
do I have what?
Pause moments. Like, do you interweave moments of mindfulness throughout your day to day? Do you have pause moments from one task to the next?
Probably not as good as I should. No.
Because I feel like on a clairvoyance point of view, I'm getting make space to because I'm hearing self-accept, but it's about receiving your guidance because you could get lost in work.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something really significant about the person that you met, actually, and what she means for you. Does she hold a substance for you? Has she hold a particular energy that feels quite resonant for you in any way?
The person that I saw, actually, I've really tried to think why, and I don't have any resonance. Or actually, most of the memories I have with her, I wouldn't say they were bad, but they weren't. They were just kind of a little angsty. She makes me feel kind of angst.
Right.
And,
Okay.
oh, but nothing like, no big event or anything.
No big event. She's showing you something that you're not comfortable with in yourself, and it's something that you are denying. And I think sometimes we look at another person's character, it shows us what we don't want to embody, but sometimes it shows us what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It was important for me to say that to you.
Yeah, I can see that.
You see, like, I just think it's amazing how our psyche works for us in a way where it respects our autonomy. Like, you've got such a will just to press on, and so your subconscious is working accordingly to that. But there's a little part of you that's willing to step back and open to change and become a bit different. And this person is showing you that.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
I'm so glad that you could present a question. Thank you for participating. It's nice to have your interaction. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica's a good soul, and I'm lucky to know her. So thank you for asking your question. And we can begin. I think more people want to, I think there was a few people that wanted to raise their hand. Again, if you don't know how to raise your hand, go to reactions down at the bottom of your screen, and you click on that little arrow, and it allows you to raise your hand. Oh, we've got a question.
Yeah.
So can you explain the meaning of snakes?
I don't usually call much, but I have recently had a large snake in my
Yeah, good.
Yeah. And don't forget, there could be generic meanings of snakes, and it can be individual meanings of snakes. It could be the character of a snake, because sometimes we say, oh, like the snake in the grass can be quite deceiving. It's funny because I picked up the deception and envy card, which I think is a theme throughout the body of this dream analysis, is that dreams will show you what you aren't quite facing. And so it could represent things like betrayal. And also there is something, temptations. And obviously from a biblical point of view, and I look at things very multidimensional. So there's so many different perspectives, but that could be something around temptations. So the fact that you've also said that it's a large snake in a dream, that may play some significance as well, because it could be, if it's a serpent, it could mean something about, oh gosh, it came in and it came out. Okay, I'm being told that you've got very tough skin, by the way, as I've just linked into you, Jack. I've just been told that. And something about the content of the large snake. I don't know if it was a cobra at all, because when you start adding in extra detail, it gives you more of a specific answer to what is come for you. So the specifics are actually very, very important. And I just kicked in for you, Jack, specifically that there's something around being thick-skinned, but to allow yourself to become more larger than life. And I don't know if there's something addictive that's going on, that your habits, but I'm just being drawn to pay attention to your addictive mannerisms is what's being told to me. If any of that resonates, Jack, then just tell me what hasn't worked, what does work, what I might not be saying that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm trying to change thoughts. Like I have repeating thoughts about a certain issue, and I think about the issue all the time and this person all the time, and I would like to not be so consumed with it.
Is this a male that yeah.
And I think and I never remember my dreams, like, ever. I've started sleeping better. I got like a temperature thing for my bed, so I'm starting to sleep better, and I am starting to finally remember my dreams. But I tend to only know like maybe twice a year what I dream about. Wow. But yeah. I think it was a cobra. It was just really large, and it was like fat, like really fat. And I was like scared of it, but it did not bite me. So Michelle's it did not.
Oh, you got me meaning.
But I was definitely afraid of it and trying to escape it, and I was safe.
Yeah, you were safe.
I know nothing else about the dream. I cannot remember a single thing.
There's also something about the neck, because if it was a cobra, I'm just being drawn attention to that bit slightly larger than the other part of the snake. That's right with a cobra? That feels significant because there's something about neck and the metaphors of that. I read into such the tiny little details, and that's what I think is fascinating about learning how to analyze and interpret your stuff. And for me, neck came up actually for a client I had this one. We use our neck to look left and right. I was thinking shoulders of responsibility. Sometimes we use our neck to use left, and it's something about weighing up your decisions, like discernment, like, do I do this or do I do that? Is what's happening as well within that snake. And also it's interesting because you mentioned that you're and I don't know if it's hormone regulation, but to get a better quality of sleep, that's helping you accept and process, because it's the relationship you have with yourself. So as you start regulating your hormones, you're regulating your I want to say your relationship to your femininity, because there's something about power that I want to say to you as well. You see, power and responsibility. What's coming? Is there anything significant that's coming up? Because I can carry on reading, but it's always nice to get the little details.
I have major issues with power dynamics with other people, power, like feeling disempowered myself. But I have a very strong, yeah.
And so don't forget, there's going to be lots of little bit pointers that you may feel useful to then take offline. Like I might just induce a few little pointers that you think, oh, I'd like to explore that further. And that's when a one-to-one session, you'd be able to get a more gritty stuff behind some of the pointers that are being made. So I'm very aware that that's massively a possibility, because there is something about this male, this guy as well, and why he's in your life and why you can't quite disconnect from him, and that could be something that will be could be explored offline. But is there anything else in the dream? You mentioned a cobra. Was that a snake? You said.
Yeah, just a really large, fat, long snake. It did not bite me, and I was saying, I ended up getting it was just this flash, Like the snake appeared and I was trying to get away from it, and I did.
I would
Or
say
I stepped away from it. At least I stepped away from it. It wasn't like it didn't get me.
you didn't. Yeah, there's something I really want to. I'm feeling the significance in the flash. You said that really spoke to me, that there was just a flash. So you said that there was just a flash, and then the snake then came in.
Well, the snake, like in my viewpoint, the snake got bigger. Like I just saw it, and then I saw how big it was. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I was like done with the dream. It was just it was very short, is what I'm saying.
Do you know what I'm getting? Because I'm hearing a flash in the pan. In the past, you've had the flash in the pan moment. I don't quite know what that is yet, but I'm hearing you've had a flash in the pan moment. And what I also want to say is the way it just came in and came out is almost like saying, do you realize the potential of your bigness? Like you get a glimpse of it, and it's like, you know what they say, the ironic thing of it's the fear. Or was it? I can't remember the saying. You might know it, Michelle, if it comes in, but it's something about being larger of life that it's our potential that we're actually scared of, as opposed to not being somebody.
Yeah. I know that quote. I know that quote.
You know that quote. And so I want to say there's something about past relationships that I would feel drawn to reflect with you, where there was a flash in the pan type relationship somewhere in your lifeline. I don't know if that triggers you or it connects to something with you.
Yes.
In any way. Yeah. And there's something about the essence of this person that keeps coming up that is there to help you process and heal from that past experience, because you know what they say, you have gradients of that same person until we get that information.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Feel free to, like, if you want to contact me after to have an extended, then that's something.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack, for participating.
Thanks.
I went ahead and put that quote in the chat. It's our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. I think that's really true.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Really true. And for a minute, I want to ask a question. How would you define the dark? Because I think that's one thing that gets tricky, is like, what is that dark side that we don't want to be afraid of? How would you describe that?
What is that? So there is something that I put down, and if I can read it to you, it's just like a short paragraph, but I think it answers your question really well, Michelle, because Spirit said to me, don't plan what you need to say. Don't worry, because I can get flustered if I'm talking, especially I'm talking about personal experiences. Mm-hmm. I'm somebody who likes to add my personal experience when the context of someone else's process.
Totally.
And so I notice I can freeze and be just like, which I did earlier on. And so Spirit says to me, just allow yourself to channel. And this is what came through to me, and I had to write it down. And it said, it is important to keep in mind that our thoughts are not who you are, because there are so many different faiths, philosophies, and scientific concepts under the nature of creation and existence.
Yeah.
I think the darkness is always about feeling alone. So we become confused about these topics, but if we back up and see these ideas for what they are, they're simplified approximations about something we can't even imagine. I feel the dark side is control sometimes. And the irony is we need control to be able to implant the actions we want to create the visions in our mind's eye. So we understand that life is one big paradoxical irony.
Yes. Yes, which is why the word wholeness is really important to us, because we want to incorporate the whole of who we are, which includes all the light and all the dark, all the positives, all the negatives, all the triumphs and all the mistakes, and to not shy away from that darkness. And it's such a paradox, right? Because I know what you mean. We need to have some control. We need to have some responsibility. And yet at the same time, let go and allow, those two things seem contradictory, right? But they're both equally important. Joni asks a question. Joni, do you want to come on video and talk? We're happy. Yeah, great.
Hi, Joni. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
I just, I'm always having dreams. And it's not about things, so I'm like, I don't know. I mean, obviously they're still relevant because they are dreams, but just curious, like when it's about someone that has already passed and they still come vividly into my dreams, if they're still here and just talking to them like they're still here.
Yeah, absolutely. So you understand that your dream content falls mainly with connecting with the energetic resonance of those who've passed over.
Yeah.
And as I said that, I can feel grief from you.
Yeah.
And I also feel the hardship, because as you said it feels to me that you've had a lot of challenges in your life, that you wasn't given things handed over and you've had to come from nothing. This is what I'm being told. And is it that you've got guardians, you've got a great working force that is coming for you, with you, to give you the strength that you need? Because there's something there. Now, if you have a soul's purpose to connect with afterlife, maybe it's to reflect on why that has developed. What is it you're here to do to help other people have a connection with those who've passed over? And is spirit connecting with you to push you into that direction to help other people with bereavement?
Wow.
Has that been anything in your mind? Has that come across as something you could do?
Yeah, and I feel very connected, and I feel like that is something that I have within me. So I mean, I think I try to close it off too much probably, and I'm not accepting of allowing that to work for my greater good. Sure.
For your great, I love the way you said for your greater good. I really feel the therapist in you, because the best therapists are those who've gone through the dark. And like I work with a lot of therapists to help them incorporate their psychic side, because it's something that's not taught conventionally, yet it's still a part of being human, is to see things outside of what's being presented to us at first hand. And there's something else that you said. Can I just stop you and ask? I'm stopping myself rather, but are you thinking or feeling something specifically right now? Is there something that's come in? Have you got a thought or a feeling?
Just, I think the how to do that, to help me probably heal as well as help others.
Yeah, because I really heard the part of you that said, I feel like a block out spirit from connecting with me, yet they still do. And there's one thing that came up. I remember having a tarot read years ago. I don't have any readings now, and it's quite controversial because the way I use them, I use it very holistically. And oh gosh, it's something about not using your gifts. If you don't use your gifts, they will eat inside you energetically, and you're battling who you are. There's the hows and the whens don't even matter when you made a decision that you want to accept the guidance from your loved ones and allow them to work through you the way that they're trying to, because what resists persists.
Right. Very true.
And I believe, lots of people come to me about demonic entities. They go like, I've had bad spirit, I have nuisance spirits. They come, they jump on my bed, they attack me, and I've got this kind of high perspective on all. And I really feel like if on a mental construct we're slightly troubled, and we've got some really self-scrutinizing thoughts on our side on ourselves, in our psyche, I feel that that's an open door to allow the unresolved messages from the sort of more of the challenging side. But I think that the fact that can I just ask as well, because my body can tell when something lands in.
Yes.
What's just landed in for you? What were you thinking and feeling?
Just fear and not trusting myself, and just, I don't know, I have this in my gut feeling. I don't know how to explain it.
I want to say there's nothing that you have done wrong, and I'm speaking to the part that holds shame. It's like, get rid of it. Get rid of it. And I believe in that content, the messages are coming through would accentuate that. You're holding on to a lot of responsibility that's not yours.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Is there anything coming up that I haven't said, that any questions that you've got from what has or hasn't come through?
I'm just curious if it's, I feel like I've healed in my mind and in my heart those things, and for that to keep coming through to me on levels of them, specifically my brother coming back all the time in my dreams. It's like, I feel like they're good dreams because he's always there and it's so real. It's like, I know that I've healed that part, and it's something that I worked through the process. Just knowing that it's just okay, I guess, and that it's, I don't know, necessarily normal is the right word, but
there's something about making money that's extremely loaded for you. And I wonder if your brother's coming in to give you permission on that, because I feel the sense of you demonizing the fact of working, using your skills and getting paid. There's some kind of guilt around, I couldn't possibly offer my assistance and charge, not trusting the quality of your empathic ear and your listening skills. There's something around being different, and I think this is why brother might come in. I don't know, was he a wild horse, wild cannon? There's a little bit there. And I'm seeing bricks, so I'm just seeing cement, like bricks, like solid cement bricks. So whether he had a connection to bricks, or whether that's just metaphoric for saying it's about building things. But something about making your home your own, I'm being told, but you need finance behind you. And I think this is where brother's coming in, because he's very almost like, I want to problem solve and get things done.
Yeah.
That's what's happening here. I've also want to say, do you connect with your grandfather? Does he come in?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that, and I just, there's a pipe that I just want to say. So I don't know if he smoked, but I'm getting tobacco. I'm getting a whiff of tobacco. And he's saying, I'm here to reassure you, because you might even smell that smell yourself. But you got to get grip. You got to get into grips with your relationship to money.
Yeah, it's really hard when you say that. I just got my certified life coach, and I'm like, how am I going to charge somebody to do this? Because I even just in the past, it's like I want to help people just because I want to help people, and use that gift because I think it's something that would be of good service.
Do you know what I've wondered? What's a good block? What's a major block between therapists is having to get it right, because we have framework and we're taught a certain sort of, we're given a template, and whatever modality you choose to use. Sometimes it's about mixing it up I was a huge conflict about the fact that I'm accredited counsellor in psychology, but I also do readings here, and they just don't work. And then I'm doing Reiki, and then people will be looking at me going, "You're doing this, you're doing that. It doesn't make sense. Do what doesn't make sense and make it your own." Because, and I just think that the people will come to you because of the fact that you're authentic. And I'm just wondering if that's would help you in any way, because I just feel drawn to share that.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. Good luck with your life coaching. It'll be good to see you on it. Are you part of the Wholeness Network? Are you in as a coach? You doing any? You not?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Well, it'll be good to see you have more connection with us and our lives and things.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
Joni, where are you at? Where do you live?
I live in Utah.
Okay, you're here with me. If ever you want to reach out, I'm happy to support you at all, because I understand that transition's difficult. It's a difficult transition to own yourself, you know. And you know, when it comes to spiritual things too, I have a good mentor that I talk to quite a bit. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I could be where I'm at. But you know, when we own our own gifts, our own greatness, our own divinity, we think, well, who am I? Right. But most of the time, what it does is it really gives permission for someone else, you know, because if we say it, if we own it, but we apologize for it, that just messes with the energy. And so as difficult as it is to own it and to claim it, then it gives permission, like I say, to other people, and to really get clear that what we're really fighting against is our own physical sensations in our body. And if we can just name that, okay, that sensation is there, and that's not necessarily what's happening in the world. That sensation is just calling out for some little love and support. So I totally understand what you're going through. And so begin to just work within your own journal to journal yourself and practice within yourself, you know, with yourself. And it's really helpful. But thank you so much for coming on today. Is there anyone else that has a question? I have a question here to ask you. Carrie, if you want to come on, you can. I'll ask the question. She says, I love synchronicities and messages from nature. What bothers me about potential messages from beyond is that I'm very scared when I'm alone at night about being visited by a spirit, even though I don't want to be scared. How do we get rid of that fear and open up to the messages? Totally get it. That's totally you're probably typical. We kind of, TV has made it seem very nervous and scary, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
So I'd love your advice on that.
Yeah, do you know what? And I heard the bit about nature as well, because I always look at root chakra work as much as this third eye. I don't know how it's very glamorized, so I just want to work on my psyche, but it is with the rooting of us that we get to become less of a wild horse, but of a one that just gallops and strides. And the thing I want to say, you know, we talk about so go back to nature, boundaries, creating yourself structured space would then allow you to that your spirit will work with you accordingly to your personality. And I am a very scattered person. I have my ADHD. I can be an absolute mess because I think that happens with the best of us that can absorb energy. So working doubly hard on boundaries, framework, routines, schedules can really help you feel like you've got more control in the way that you will feel that your psyche won't feel invaded by spirit. That spirit will come in to serve you as much as you come to serve spirit, and that your relationship with working with spirit is a unionship. It's always about relationships that I talk about. And if spirit are coming to you, okay, I just need to stop because I get the gauge when I need to stop. She's not on. Is it Deborah that I'm speaking to? Can you remind me, Michelle, the name that just so
I want to try to talk, but I did something on this screen and I can't even see you guys now. And I don't know if you can even hear me. Can you hear me?
Can you hear? This is Carrie.
Oh,
can you hear her?
Good. This is
Yeah,
Carrie.
we can hear you. Yeah,
Good.
Carrie.
I'm sorry that after I put the chat in and sent the chat, it went to like a black screen, and I'm so not tech savvy that now I can't even see you guys. But anyway, luckily I'm unmuted and I can hear you. Thank you for
Oh,
responding
good.
to my question.
Good.
Oh, I just had that feeling. It was like I need to just touch base with Kerry because there's something that I need to take what's the word? Pay attention to.
Yeah, thank you. It's so odd because I don't want to be afraid of being alone at night. I don't want to be afraid that I'm going to look up and see some deceased family member in my doorway and be nervous. It's never happened. But I love, being able to get a message. I got a little message from Michelle on a Zoom meeting a while back from my deceased sister, and
Yeah.
it was so beautiful. There was nothing scary about it. But when I'm home alone at night, if my husband's out of town and I'm home alone at night, I kind of hate to go to bed because I don't know why I'm fearful. I think people have told me, oh, you don't want to open up a portal
Yeah.
to any negative spirits. My sister always tells me that. And I'm thinking, I wish I didn't even have that looming in the way of my intuition and in the way of my, connecting to messages from beyond because
Yeah.
I, I'm getting older and I don't have a lot of, like, I only have one aunt who's still alive. Um, so I'm thinking that it would mean a lot to me to feel the presence of loved ones from beyond. But for whatever reason, I'm scared to death at night when I'm alone. It's weird.
I don't, and you say it's weird, but as Michelle says, I think it's one of the most common factors of
Oh,
fear
good.
of connection. This is so common to hear that.
Good.
And one thing that comes up for me intuitively is our relationship to our body. You mentioned like a portal, and people talk about energy attachments.
Uh-huh.
And my take on it is about the relationship we have with our body. Something Michelle said as well about the body. I can't recall what it was, but it came in. Let me just feel it out a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, because the answer I wanted to say specifically to you, but also as a collective to the actual concept of what you were talking about.
Uh-huh.
When you said that sometimes I really get the thing about being alone, and sometimes, and it's in the deepest, darkest hours, it will be it's at sleep time because we're not doing anything, and then we're fully present, and that I think is the biggest fear of all. You mentioned portals and spirit invading the psyche, but also isn't the biggest invasion that we are away with our thoughts. We want to observe our thoughts, but not allow them to carry us off from the present moment in time. So I wonder if we look at what it's like to be present, and how that may help you with that anxiety around receiving something that you feel you can't bear when you're on your own. Because I get that sometimes when you're with somebody, you've got that sense of security
Right.
and support. But when we're in our present moment, how can we feel present and supported in times where we're not doing anything? And that's just a question I'm just going to throw out to you and see if anything lands.
Repeat that if you don't mind.
When you're still and you're not doing, can you remember a time when can you recall the last time that you were with yourself in a meditative way, or a way where you wasn't doing anything but you were just being?
Yeah, I can think of a time.
Yeah.
But it was in broad daylight.
Yeah.
So the time that comes to my mind is, in broad daylight in my yard, and it's daytime and there's the beauty all around me. versus maybe when I'm in a meditative state by myself in my room at night. So I've got those two dichotomies going on.
You just had that's the information we need. Thank you. Because what you said is when you're around and there's abundance of things going on, there's so much around you. In the night, we've got huge stars. There's stars lit up the sky, but we focus on the blackness. And you see, and it really is about not the and when I just said that, anything drop in, thoughts, feelings?
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, I can't even tell you right now the truth chills that are like just going through my body. I don't know why. It just was kind of a beautiful thing that you said about we focus on the darkness versus the beautiful stars. And right when you said that, I just had chills from head to toe. So
yeah, it spoke to the soul of you because you get that concept. You can connect to an energetic resonance where that was true for you. You connected with the stars in the sky.
Yes, I'm sure.
And that just, it's not to convince you otherwise that darkness is let's just get into the darkness now. It's about showing you what you can add in to that anguish to make it something else. Sit with the anguish, allow it, and let's add in. It says, there's a saying that says, surround yourself with the infinite. Give to society, serve, and you won't want to lie down. But there's something about being able to lie down first to get those ideas. And again, it's about the infinite, it's about the abundance of possibilities, and there's room for it for everyone. But I needed to say that. I don't know why I needed to say that, but
I think it's really beautiful what you just said, because I'm also at a time in my life where I have a lot of free time. And I know that there is an infinite out there, abundance of possibilities that I need to just tap into with service or with volunteering or even with writing, my own memoir or whatnot. Those things that I just haven't done yet that I still could do, but something holds me back. And a lot of it is depression. A lot of it is fear of growing older and being alone and not having my children and grandchildren around, just a lot of battling that. I had a dream recently, and I'm assuming that this is going to tie in. So it was, what I remember about it is I was hosting an event for my family, like maybe a Christmas Eve dinner or something. The event didn't matter. It wasn't specific. It was just, I was in charge of making sure that the food was prepared and everything was ready and cleaned up, and we were going to have a nice time. And for some reason, I wasn't prepared, and people were there. Nothing was ready. I was kind of chaotic, running in circles, trying to get everything ready and feeling like I needed to please these people and serve these people. But I was failing. And so it was a really awful dream.
That's so entwined to what I've just said. And you said, oh, maybe this has written, maybe it's connected. I think it is. That's exactly what you dreamt. You dreamt of giving service.
Oh, I did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And you dreamt of bringing things to the table. What have you got to bring to the table? Is it good enough? Let's bring this to the table. Meat also represents quite a lot of things. There's bread and then there's meat, but there's something about, where it's like the old saying, bring home the bacon. But it's again, it's that substance of, is this going to provide quality?
Right.
But I think that when we give to society, and I wonder if this speaks to you at all, is, for me, I think that we can give in a quite selfish way, because I look at the fact that when I help people, I'm really receiving so much for myself.
Right.
And that gives me that, because I just look at every client and think, what am I going to learn today? In their understanding, what will I gain? and it's just a little bit that just tips it off the edge for me to say it's not, you know, that I actually give myself permission. It's like what it does is it counterintuitively works to the part that says I haven't got anything to offer, because what that is the inner child saying I feel that nothing's being offered to me.
Right.
It's quite deep, and it's a little bit of a paradox there, but that's how I really look at emotions. So yeah, sometimes we have a layer of fear that says I'm not going to be able to be good enough to bring something to the table, but underneath that layer is a resentment of I never had anything brought to the table for me.
Makes a lot of sense for me.
Yeah, so there's these two layers of feelings, and we're thinking, oh, that doesn't make sense, but they're actually there entwined.
Right. I don't want to take much more of your time, but I just want to throw out one other statement and then I'll let you move on. So when I'm having this dream, and even just in general, if I am alone and quiet, I'll be thinking, this is just a strange thought that I have. I'll be thinking, okay, everything's fine in my life right now. Who's mad at me? And I'll be thinking about the different people that I love in my life, and I'll just be kind of in a quandary as to somebody's got to be mad at me, but I can't figure out who. So it's just this fear of maybe I've lived in chaos for so many years, you know, from dysfunctional childhood and whatnot. I don't know that it's hard for me to push that thought away. Nobody's mad at me. That's a good thing. And it's an unfamiliar feeling to me.
It's an unfamiliar feeling too. And I like the way you said it's an unfamiliar feeling too, because when you start to change, that's when the thought comes in. And there's something around if I make changes, that has married to some of the narrative that I've once heard. But again, that's something that I would want to explore with you a little bit if you had time, if you were a client and we would had a one-to-one.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for working with me,
Thank you.
Michelle.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, I think that's a common thing, and something that I was taught and appreciate is that, you know, when we have these experiences, they're always meant to uplift and support you. They're never meant to, you know, take over, and we always have our agency in our life. And so when you talked about creating a boundary as far as that fear part is concerned, you know, maybe so for me, you know, sometimes when I'm ready to connect, I'll light a specific candle or a candle and have that intention. Now is when it can be a good time.
When, I'm given permission. I'm taking control.
Yeah. And then when I don't have that candle on, I can let that go, or at least recognize that the fear I have is about something else. You know, like it's about my other stuff, right?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
And yeah.
So anyway, so that's one thing to do, and you can do that during the day. Practice during the day when it's all safe, lighting your candles, connecting in.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, Carrie. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Carrie's like such a sweet soul. I'm sure you could pick that up.
Absolutely.
Interacting
and
with her.
just to pick up, because I'm just aware of the time as well, was having a conversation with spirit. You know, it's all very well that they're coming in giving us this information, but don't maybe have a way of being able to then speak to them and ask them, you know, this is what I want, this is what I'd like to understand, or, you know, can you visit me in the daytime, can you show me a sign that you're around me at such and such. That's
right.
Yeah, such a good point. That's so point. We always think it's just got to be something we receive, but we participate in, we get to join in. It's our experience, so we kind of get to be the narrator of it too. So I love that. I think that's a great point. Great point. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or to clarify or anything as we're finishing up this amazing hour and a half we've been with you, Angelina?
I just think that this could just go on for, obviously what you guys will get a feel of is that you can get their psychic development, how to control a channel when it comes to dream work. It's understanding, being able to recognize patterns and sequences as a way to sharpen up your clairvoyance channel. There's being able to reflect on what you're processing subconsciously, and realizing that you can also find nuggets of your unconscious mind in your dream work as well. It's just we could break down this into sort of little subsections. So but it's great that you guys have been on, because I'm trying to share high level strategy in a very simple, in some simple terms, so you've got tiny little nuggets to take just to start things off.
Yeah, we can only just touch the surface, I'm sure, especially with the technology and with, just all of that. It kind of we can just barely begin what I'm sure you have to share. And we want to make sure people know that we're going to send out a link where you can directly interact with Angelina, and you can get a session with her or connect with her, and she's going to continue to be part of the Wholeness Network. So we're just thrilled to have her. Is there anything else that you want to say really quick before I mean, you don't have to be really quick. I just don't want to keep going. If there's something you want to say, and then I'll just wrap up when you're done. So take the time that you need. Or
just so you guys, that with whatever I've touched on, it might just open the doors to things that feel what's the word? Process is about opening things up. Problematic thinking is about tying loose ends. And so I like to work both ways. So just be aware that whatever's come through, you may then, I always say process happens after the session. So you might have, if there's certain thoughts or feelings that have been provoked at the back end of this, then please reach out. Michelle's an amazing therapist. And then you'll have the link of how to access me as well. So I think that was just a useful thing to add there.
Yeah, I love that. That was a great metaphor. Yeah, we're probably just opening a few things, and time will go on and ahas will start to happen, and that's great. So we thank you for being here, and we will send out an appointment, or like a way to make an appointment with Angelina. And also please let us know what you thought about this event, this call. This is kind of the beginning of what we're getting ready to call the Wholeness Network Show, and we expect to do episodes like this on a regular basis, and you'll be able to access these as part of the library. So for now, choose whichever supports you, but we will start to have these more on a regular basis, where we can interact with several of our different experts and teachers, and get them to share their content and their amazing abilities with us in the library. So we will put a link there. Thank you all for being here, and we hope to see you again. We are going to have Angelina back again for sure, and whether she does dreams or some of her other, she did such a great job bringing it all together. Don't we all just want to speak with her? Like, we're just so excited to be able to have this opportunity, and it just makes us want more and more and more of you, Angelina. So we'll, at the Wholeness Network, we'll take advantage of that whenever we can, get you back on and have you teach and learn some more. You've got such a great spirit, and of course, amazing gifts. So we will sign off for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and we will see you next time, hopefully. Feel empowered every day with wholeness videos, meditations, downloads, classes, and more by joining the Wholeness Library at thewholenessnetwork.com.